weekly check-in. Heather number 2.
Well, I think a couple things I'm working on. One thing is going to open mics because Dan was like, I think you should go to an open mic every night of the week. I think, 3 or 4 times would not be enough. so, um, so that was scary, but I did like 5 out of 6 times and took a little break because I needed one. But I'm gonna jump back in. And so part of that though is that I don't like to play the same songs at every open mic I go to. Well, I didn't mind playing the same songs at every different open mic, but if I'm returning for the next week, I want to have a new set of songs. So it's sort of like I need a set of like 3 or 4 songs that I can do every week if I'm going to keep doing this. So I need to work on remembering some of my songs from my back catalog. And then the other thing I'm working on, which is maybe part of what just happened there, is the ecology of my mind and creating a more nourishing and nurturing and fertile ecology in my mind instead of a toxic, trash-filled mind. Because I've spent many years of my life thinking lots of things that are not productive to being an artist. And so I'm working on composting those thoughts and creating a nice little garden bed for artistic seeds to grow in. Yes. Yeah, it's been hard for me to continue to recognize those places where my thinking is not good, where my thinking is not conducive to being an artist and to having a healthy, productive life. And Dan has said to me a couple times, don't believe everything you think. And to kind of explore some of my past, that where that stuff might have gotten started, those habits might have gotten started, especially because a lot of it isn't necessarily like an obvious bad thing happened to me. It's just sort of like, oh, I was living and at the time I needed to be a certain way, that didn't fully serve this artistic person that I'm becoming right now. So it's been a lot of self-examination. Hard but good. Well, something that has been really lovely and nourishing is having a good response from the open mics. Like going out and playing a song and having people clap and holler, like, oh, it's like, oh, wow, because it's so easy to sit in your room and stew over a song for who knows how long, and and go from one moment of like, this is the best song in the universe, and then the next one like, this is the worst song in the universe, and it's not like every single person in the room came up and like made a point of telling me that I was the best songwriter ever either, which would be nice one day. But a couple people did, and the room clapped. Nobody like booed me off the stage or anything. Like even the moments when I knocked into the mic with my guitar neck, or some of the open mics weren't amplified and they had to all come up and like sit around me and be really quiet, or like turn off the AC so they could hear me. And however many people it was that did that, 5 or 6 people would actually come up and actually listen to me. So that was a fun, neat moment. People who had no obligation or need to do it other than they were good people and they actually did want to hear what I had to say. Yeah, I don't know that I had a preconception about Austin specifically, so much as about like the world outside of hometown, as being a very scary and judgmental place. But so far I haven't really experienced that. You know, I mean, there's always a few people probably, but you kind of start to realize like, oh, they're just cranky. And for the most part, it's been very sweet and welcoming and open, and people are friendly and, you know, giving advice and saying, oh, come down to this open mic, or oh, go to this cafe or whatever it's gonna be. They're gonna have really great shows there and stuff. So that's been really sweet. And it has also been interesting being in a new place and learning to network with people face to face, because I've done a whole lot of internet networking with people, especially through my radio show and blog, but it's a different thing. Not too different, but different enough to like go up to somebody face to face and be like, hey, I really liked your music. Which is usually a good opening line, by the way. You know, people aren't opposed to you telling them that you like their music. So if you're nervous about going to introduce yourself to someone, that's a pretty good opening line if they're a musician.